Welcome back to the Crypto Gorilla YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about how I got into Web3 and how it changed my life entirely. I went from being 5 figures in debt to making more money than I've ever had in my entire life combined in less than 1 year. And I've even had periods where I've made over 6 figures in less than 1 month. I get asked all the time how I got into Web3, what I did prior to this, if I do this full time. I feel like there's a ton of people who are trying to find success in this space. They're trying to escape the 9 to 5, make a ton of money, and change their lives as well as the lives of their family. Now, there's often an assumption, especially when it comes to YouTubers, that it's just an overnight success, and I could promise you that this is definitely not the case. Now, I plan on making this a multi-part series. I'm going to do one on the 5 different ways I make my money. I'm going to talk about growing a YouTube channel, growing a brand, starting an alpha group, and a ton more. So if you aren't already subscribed to my videos, would you kindly hit that subscribe button, smash that bell notification so you don't miss a single part of the series. Now, for perspective, I am currently 32 years old. However, we're going to go back to the beginning of my journey, which is a little over 10 years ago. So I went to business school. I wasn't a good student. I didn't apply myself. I pretty much only went to make my parents happy. So halfway through business school, I'm working at a pet shop. I love animals. I always have. If I go to a party and there's a dog, I'm going to spend more time on the floor with the dog than I will talking to the actual people. But I'm in my early 20s and there is no future at the pet shop. So I leave and I go get a job at a bank, which is actually a really good thing because I get to see the inside of a bank and how archaic and outdated they really are. So I'm working as a teller, and after 1 year, I get promoted to assistant teller manager. Now, I'm still a teller myself, but I basically oversee all of the other tellers. I make sure they balance at the end of the day. I open and close the branch. All of this full-time while I'm still a full-time student. So 6 months go by since I got the promotion. I graduate school. I'm the first in my family to get a university degree. They're super proud. However, it didn't mean anything to me. To me, it's just a piece of paper you use to get into the door when you want to apply to a corporate job. Now, a little side story, which is my first experience as a founder, as well my first brush with YouTube, which is something I knew I always wanted to do. So one of my friends, Vince, we went to school together. He's working at Future Shop, which is essentially Best Buy, and he has access to a ton of electronics. So we go ahead and start a YouTube channel called The Tech Over, where we review different cell phones, laptops, tablets, anything you can think of. Now, we're 4 people doing this: Vince and Puff, who are on camera, Matt, who helped with editing, and myself. I did all the directing and I wrote a bunch of the scripts. And we wanted it to be more than just reviews. We wanted it to be funny, entertaining, so we would have a ton of jokes. Vince loves Apple, Puff hates Apple, so we had a versus series, and we even started filming different skits. I'm gonna link one in the description down below. It's still available on YouTube. I'm in it, and I actually had hair back then, but these were some of my fonder memories. I really enjoyed the whole production side, directing, and I was just having fun with my friends creating content. Now, unfortunately for us, we needed a website. So Vince, one of our stars and also the one who was getting us the products, he learned to code, built our website, and he fell in love with coding. So he stopped doing the video side of things and he went to go become a freelance developer. The company fell apart and I kept working at the bank. Now, after I graduated, I continued working there for about 6 months. I did a total of 2 years. Now, I liked it. I didn't really like the job, but the staff was cool. The customers were cool. It's a bank branch, so all the customers are regulars. You always go to the same branch, especially the elderly. They make it like a part of their daily routine to go to the bank every single day. So I know everybody. It's fun, but it's time for me to climb the corporate ladder and take the next step in my career. So I set up a meeting with my branch manager. We're chatting about what my future at the company is going to be, and I still remember what she said to me as if it's right now, as if I'm in that moment. I could still picture it. I'll never forget it. She said, "Toi t'es un gars de service," which is French because I'm in Quebec, but it essentially means you're a service guy. Now, she was right. I was really good at customer service. She meant it as a compliment. Like, we got along. I loved her. She meant it as a compliment. I was really good at customer service. I knew everybody's name. I'm good with numbers. I remember numbers. I knew everyone's bank account number. I would see them pull up through the window in the parking lot, and I would pull up their bank account before they even arrive and start their transaction. Because like I said, it's regulars. They do the same thing. I understood the importance of customer service. I took it very seriously. I understood representing a brand, which is something we are really missing today. I don't know if you've noticed, customer service has gone completely downhill, but that's a topic for another video. Now, like I said, her intentions were good, but when she said to me, "You're a service guy," all I heard was, "You are meant to serve," which is something I will never accept. Now, I was already in a bad headspace working there. I really didn't want to do the 9 to 5 life. I felt like I was doing more more work than all the executives. Like I had better ideas. I could execute better than them. But at the end of the day, it's this big political machine where you have to know somebody to really climb up to the top positions. And I felt like a number, and I was just working to make money for somebody else, and they were just paying me a cut of all the money that I was making. Now, it's not all in the bank. I also was feeling pretty down about myself. I felt like an underachiever. I always said I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 25, which was clearly not going to happen. So unless I made a real change in my life, nobody was coming to save me, and I wasn't just going to accidentally stumble into millions of dollars and success. Now, during this time, even though we stopped creating videos, Vince, Puff, and myself, we would still hang out every Sunday. Like I said, Vince became a freelance developer, so every Sunday he would teach us the basics of coding. Now, I kind of live in half a video game, half a movie. A lot of my life references or my thoughts are just related to movies, and I had just watched The Wolf of Wall Street. You know that scene where Donnie says,
"Excuse me, is that your car on the lot?
And then
You show me a pay stub for $72,000.
and I quit my job right now." Well, Vince was doing really good as a web developer. He was driving a Cadillac, and he was taking a 1-month trip to Europe, a Euro trip. And I told him, I'm going to learn to code, and when you get back from Europe, I'm quitting my job. Now, I'm sure he thought, okay, this guy's crazy. He's never going to do it. He left to Europe, and every single day after work, every single day on my days off, all I did was learn to code. I read books. I Googled a bunch of stuff. I did Code Academy, which is a great tool if you want to learn to code. There's a ton of free tools if you want to learn these skills, but I learned all about front end. I was a front end developer, so I learned HTML and CSS, which is the design side of the website, as well as JavaScript, which is the functionality side. He got back from Europe, and I gave in my 2 weeks notice that day. Now, quitting was not an easy thing to do, not because I couldn't go through with it, because everyone else didn't want me to go through with it. My family, all my coworkers, everybody thought it was a huge mistake. They were all trying to convince me not to do it. I had just graduated. I was about to get a promotion and move up the corporate ladder. I was about to start making real money. And let's face it, I had never built a website. I barely knew how to code. I had never made $1 coding. So to them, it didn't make sense at all that I wanted to do this. However, they didn't know what was going on in my head. They didn't understand that the life that they were suggesting for me, like I wasn't willing to accept it. I didn't want that at all. It's not that I was lazy and I didn't want to work. I didn't want to do a 9 to 5. I wanted to work all the time. I wanted to work as much as possible and not be limited to the decisions of other people or a corporation. So I did what I needed to do for myself, and I quit. So it's 2014. I'm 24 years old. Vince and I start working together, and we managed to land a pretty big client. He wants 3 websites for $50,000. Not bad in our first year of building websites. And shortly after, we're also joined by Vince's brother and Puff, and together we form a company called Potion Software. Now, we built websites, e-coms, web apps. We worked a ton. We did 7 days a week. Especially Vince and myself, we had great work ethic. We worked 10, 12-hour days. But don't get me wrong, we had a ton of fun. We had a house to ourselves. We would host video game tournaments with 4 Xboxes and have Halo LAN parties. We had a ping pong table. We would gym together. We had a lot of fun, but we also had amazing work ethic, especially at our age. Now, although we had the web agency, it was running, we had clients. At the end of the day, that's still just the service industry. It's pretty hard to scale. And what we really wanted to do was build a startup, get funded by YC, go to California, make billions of dollars, buy yachts, supercars, private jets. You get the picture. So what we decided to do was use the funds we would get by building websites, slow down the website of things, and try to build products. So our first product was a CMS, or a content management system, which just holds all the information for your website. And you could think of this like Squarespace, WordPress, Wix, Weebly. Now, we built this over, I guess, a year-long period. I forget the timeline, a year, maybe a year and a half. It took very long, which is a mistake, something you should never do. Build first and then try to get customers later. Unless you're sure you can get funding or something, that's pretty much a mistake. And that product failed. We weren't able to get any customers for it. And we also lost Puff and Vince's brother. So now we're down to just Vince and myself. And all this time, not only are we trying to build a startup, we're still having to build websites. We have to grow and get new customers, because when a website is done, the bulk work is done. So you need more money to come in. We need more customers, and we have to stay sharp. We have to stay on top of our game, learn new coding languages. I learned Photoshop. I learned Figma. I had to do all the web design, the UI, the UX. I also learned React. I learned Vue.js. There is a ton that you have to do. Like I said, we were doing 7 days a week, 10, 12-hour days. So it's just the two of us now. We try a second product called Potion Search. It's a local search engine, which we started with groceries. Huge mistake. We should have gone for something way more niche. But essentially, you put in your grocery list, we scrape all these stores near you, so it was a local search engine, and we come up with the optimal stores you can go to for the cheapest price. The issue, especially with groceries, is grocery stores don't keep inventory. So you have your list, you pick the cheapest store, you go there, they're missing half the items that are on your list because that specific store doesn't necessarily have what's on the website. So that product failed, and then we moved on again to another CMS, the same product as the first time, but built way better, at least in our opinion. But same thing, we spoke to some of our web clients because we had a ton of web clients who didn't like using WordPress. They wanted a better CMS. So we're like, cool, we're gonna go build this. What features do you want? They told us all the features. They said, yeah, we'll use it. It sounds a lot like NFTs, right? The community, anything the team says, everybody says, oh, that sounds amazing. I'm gonna hold this project forever. I'm never gonna flip it. And then when it comes time to mint, they might not even mint if it's not flippable. So same thing here. They say, yes, we want all these features. We build for a year. And then when it comes time to onboard them, they get cold feet for whatever reason. And that company also ended up failing. Now, our big mistake, like I said, was we would put our head down and build. What we should have done is got written commitments from clients, even get people to pay before we even build it. That way we know we're not wasting 6 months, 1 year of our life. Now, like I said, all 3 of those products failed. We made $0 from them. I was in debt for most of this time, and we did this for 7 years. Imagine 7 years of working 7 days a week, no vacation, barely any days off. I would do weekends, I would do nights, 10, 12 hours days. Literally my days for 7 years were eat, work, gym, and sleep. That's it. I think when it comes to a startup, a lot of people view it as you're going to be wearing suits, you're going to be, fancy watches, drinking scotch, and driving really nice cars. That is the complete opposite of what running a company and having a startup is. You're most likely going to be working all the time. You're not going to be able to see any of your friends or go out or play video games, and you're going to be severely in debt. I can tell you the startup life is definitely not for everybody. You need to have really strong mental fortitude. I went through a ton of pain. I debated quitting plenty of times. I second guessed myself all the time. I had plenty of people telling me I should pack it in. I should, get a regular job, find a wife, buy a house, have some kids, settle down. And although those are things I really do want, I definitely was not willing to give up on my dreams in order to have that right away. And what I viewed as essentially selling my soul to a corporation to work a 9 to 5 and basically live for weekends off and 2 to 3 vacation weeks per year. But times do get pretty tough. I tried a ton of things. I tried, listening to motivational videos. I would read all the self-help books, go through that list that everybody reads. I would change my morning routine as if any of those things are gonna magically make me a millionaire. So 7 years go by. At this point, I'm 30 years old. I'm living with 2 dudes, an apartment meant for 2 people. So Vince was literally living in the living room with no doors. We're in our 8th year of business. We're not making money. We're both in debt. Meanwhile, our friends are all getting married, buying houses, having kids. So we're down pretty bad. So Vince decides to get a regular job, a very good job. He's a super talented programmer. He gets a job. He moves out with his girlfriend. And meanwhile, I fall off. I start playing video games. My work ethic goes downhill. I'm not productive at all. I'm super lost. Like, my friends can tell that I was in a dark place, but they wanted to help me. They didn't know what they can do to help me. And the truth is, nobody can help me. Only I can help me, but I couldn't figure out how to help myself. Then what happens is one of my friends buys SafeMoon, and I tell him, if you buy SafeMoon, I'm gonna make a video on why you should not buy SafeMoon. So he buys it, and of course I go ahead and make a video, and thus the birth of Crypto Gorilla. Now, after I posted that video, I was like, hey, this is something I can do. All my friends ask me, how do they buy crypto in Canada? Like, what's the best place to buy Bitcoin? So the first video I made after that was how to buy crypto in Canada. And then from there, I started making tutorials on all the different exchanges. I started comparing all the different exchanges in different videos. And I really didn't care about how many views I was getting. My goal was to learn how to edit. I needed to become a better editor, but I also wanted to figure out what works, what people like and dislike. When are they clicking off? I got to figure out the thumbnail game, the title game, and really just discover my audience. What I would ask myself all the time was, how can I add value to my viewers? Now, although I really enjoyed YouTube, like I said, I was in debt. It was paying $0. I really wanted to move out, so I essentially gave in. I really felt like I was giving up on myself, but I decided to apply for a job, really just for the salary, really for job security, just so I could move out on my own and feel a little bit better about myself. So at first, I only applied to one company, It was a crypto exchange. I did not want to do programming anymore, but programming jobs pay well, so I applied to be a front-end developer. I did a 3-hour coding exam, and then over 5 weeks, I did 3 one-hour interviews or more. They were really long interviews. Finally, I did not get the job. Then I applied to one of my friends' companies who they do video production, and they make really great commercials, and I really love video production. I had experienced it with YouTube, and I always wanted to make a movie, so I was like, oh, this can be a cool place. And I also saw that they had a YouTube channel. Now, their YouTube channel wasn't doing well. It had been like a year. They only got 200 subscribers. They were doing vlogs. So what I did, I went ahead and I wrote a 6-page document. I rewrote it 3 times. I researched their whole channel. I wrote what's wrong with their thumbnails, what's wrong with their titles, even what kind of video content I think they should be doing. I put a bunch of examples of videos. I analyzed the videos, what I liked about them, how they can reproduce this for their company, and all the benefits it would have not only for them, but for their customers. And I sent this to them for free. They didn't know I was doing this. They never asked me for this, but when they got this, they were super happy. So we set up an interview, and although they were going to give me a shot editing their videos, what they really wanted me for was to program, to be a coder, which is something I no longer wanted to do. But I was like, hey, I need money. I'll do the interview. Now, mid-interview, I realized I don't want to work for anybody else. So I just told them, like, I know them, so it's casual. I could just tell them straight up. I told them, I don't want to be working for anybody else. I'm just going to do my YouTube thing. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm at 500 subscribers at this point. I feel like I could really make it something if I just fully devote myself to it. So we hang up on the call, and I just go all in on YouTube. I really devote myself to creating content. Now, it took me 4 months to get to 1K subscribers, which is a significant point in any YouTuber's career. I used to see a channel with 1K subs and even 10K subs and think, oh, only 10,000 followers. Now I think, wow, 10,000 followers, like, good job. Mad respect to anybody who's done that and to anybody who's trying to do that. It is extremely difficult. But if you want to monetize on YouTube, you need 1,000 subscribers. So that's why it's a key point. You also need 4,000 watch hours. So there's 2 metrics you need to hit. And I had just hit the 1K mark. And I believe around here, somebody asked me, hey, can you make a tutorial on how to use MetaMask and OpenSea? I had no idea what these were. I had never seen OpenSea before in my life. I barely knew anything about NFTs. I had covered them once or twice purely about gaming because I understood how the technology was going to revolutionize gaming, but I had no idea why people were buying monkey pictures for $100,000. But I wanted to make a tutorial for my viewers, so I go ahead and install MetaMask. I have to, of course, go buy an NFT. I buy my first NFT called Sympathy for the Devils. I paper-hand it, of course, and after I sell it, it ends up 10xing, and that just completely opened my eyes to the space. Now, over the years, I got really lucky investing. I put 1K into crypto. I ended up 9xing my money, and then I put 1K into stocks. No research. Like, I would Google what stocks should I buy. I would read on random forums, people telling me, or not telling me, just saying, I think this stock is going to do well, shilling their bag. And I would be like, good enough for me. And I would go buy it, and it would 2-3x. And then I would go find another one on that site, and I ended up 5xing my money. But this completely warped my perception of investment. Like, I knew I got lucky, but I was talking to people. I spoke to a friend and I spoke to my dad, and they both said to me, you can't expect these kind of returns. The average investor, the average good investor makes 10% per year. And I was like, 10% a year? How long do you think I want to be doing this? 20 years? Compounded interest and dividend payments? No. I don't want 10% in a year. I want 10x in a day. So when I saw that NFT 10x, to me, that was amazing. Like, that was a godsend. Not only did I fall down the rabbit hole, I dove headfirst down the rabbit hole. And this was perfect timing because not only did I hit that 1K metric that YouTube has to start promoting your videos a bit more, they start giving you a chance at 1,000 subscribers, but NFTs were about to go on a crazy run. I had missed Bored Apes, I missed Cool Cats, they were already running, right? I missed Dogepound, but this is around the time of Crypto Dads, it's around the time of the Sevens, and right before Hate Beast. Now, I had done a few videos on cryptocurrencies. My bread and butter was really the tutorials. I did a few videos on upcoming coins, and these would get 3 to 4x the views that my other videos were getting. So I realized, okay, people want to know how to make money. Like, yeah, they might watch a tutorial once how to buy Bitcoin, but then you know how to buy Bitcoin. But you always want to know different ways to make money. So when it came to NFTs, I quickly understood NFTs. For some reason, I just got it. I was able to, not financial advice, I was able to identify projects that I felt were going to go up in price price. So although it took me 4 months to get to 1,000 subscribers, it took me 28 days to get to 10,000 subscribers. And from there, it just kept growing and growing. So did my Twitter, so did my alpha group. Everything just took off. Now, I know everyone sees YouTube, they don't see that 7 years of pain, that 7 years of grinding with no end in sight, with no real reward, right? It's not like I made a bunch of money doing startups. They all failed and I had to keep going. There was no end of the tunnel. But if I had to go back and trade it, I would definitely not, because I learned so much in those 7 years. I truly believe had I not gone through that, I would not be anywhere near as successful in this career and trading NFTs as I am now. With a startup, especially a programming startup, I had to teach myself to code. There's no boss saying, hey, you got to learn this. I can go play video games for 2 weeks straight if I want, and nobody's going to be mad at me. It's you versus you. So I had to learn to code. I had to go find solutions when I couldn't solve stuff. You have to keep your mind sharp and keep learning new languages, learning new skills to be a top performer. It also really helped me build my work ethic. For 7 years straight, working 7 days a week, 10-hour days, like that's where I learned that. And even though I'm successful in this career, I still do 7 days a week. I still do 10, 12, sometimes 14-hour days. I don't think people realize how much work we put in. We have to find projects, do the research, interview the teams. And teams, it's not like they're all in the same time zone. There's people in the UK, there's people in Australia, there's people in the West Coast. Time zones are all over the place. Then after interviewing all of them, I have to write a script, I have to film the video, I have to edit. Now I have a wonderful editor. You do an amazing job, thank you. But it was a ton of work. There was times where I did once 13 days straight of posting every day. I went to bed at 4 to 5 a.m. every single day, and I was up at 9 a.m. every single day to go run my alpha group. So on top of all the filming stuff, I have my alpha group. I have to get whitelists for them to keep my group running. And now I also do advising through Web3 Wizards, and we're also starting to develop our own products. So I think a lot of people think once you reach success, you can take your foot off the gas and start to relax. It's a complete opposite. Once you taste some success, you have to double down. Now, I think there's 3 things that sets me apart. The first one, of course, my work ethic, not only for a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, for years without any end in sight, without any immediate reward. The second thing is an obsessive personality. When I like something, I want to consume as much as I can about it. And that's what happened with NFTs. I wanted to learn everything I could about NFTs, know about all the NFTs. I'm literally addicted to this. I love NFTs. I do this 7 days a week and I love it. I love being on Discord. I love chatting with people in different voice chats. And that's definitely benefited me. I know Steve Jobs says you have to love what you do or else you're gonna quit. I don't believe that, because I did 7 years of programming, building a startup, and I did not want to program for the rest of my life. I was doing it purely for the money. I mean, I like building websites, but I don't love it, especially when you're trying to solve a JavaScript problem. I wanted to break my screen. So I don't buy that you have to love what you do. Sometimes the money is motivation enough. If somebody said, I'll give you $10 million if you spend 1 year, 7 days a week digging a hole, I'm gonna dig dirt. I don't love digging dirt, but I'm gonna dig dirt for 365 days because I'd love $10 million. So work ethic, obsession, and the final thing is persistence. If I have my eye on a goal, I have like blinders on, all I see is that goal. And although I didn't achieve it the way I thought I would, it didn't happen on the path I thought it would happen. Along the way, I made sure to develop skills that would be useful to me in the future. That's it for today's video. Like I said, this is going to be a continuous series. In the next video, I'm gonna break down the 5 different ways that I make my money, as this is one of the most frequent questions I get. However, it would be way too long to put it in this video. So if you like that, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you are notified when that video comes out and you don't miss it. Give this video a big thumbs up. Thank you for watching the Crypto Gorilla. Peace.